All right, hello everybody. It's Mayor Jane here for our weekly edition of Facebook Live. And we have some great guests today. We're going to talk about the effect of COVID on local businesses and how a couple of business owners have really flipped their business model or their strategy to successfully adjust to the COVID pandemic. So it's very exciting. I can't wait to get to them. First, we have to also acknowledge what a historic day today was with the swearing in of President Biden and Vice President Harris. What an incredible speech that was given today in the inauguration. And I think something that was really aimed at bringing the entire country back together. So very excited about the president and then having the first female vice president in history. Very, very exciting, and look forward to the future of the Biden-Harris presidency. And we have a lot of issues that they're going to have to address without a doubt. But we will do it as a united America. So very excited about that. Now, let me give you an update. I know everyone looks forward to having Dr. Michael give the update on COVID, as I do myself, but I'm going to have to be the one to give it to you today. Some somber information. As many of you may have seen yesterday, we lit up the City Hall, as did many other city halls and state capitals. And the Washington Monument, the reflection pond, was lit up for the first time in history in recognition of the 400,000 individuals who have lost their lives in our country. 400,000 Americans that have lost their lives to COVID, with frankly no end in sight right now, with the more contagious variant of COVID-19 that has been found here in America and has really decimated a couple of other locations, specifically the United Kingdom, as we heard from Dr. Michael last week. So there are currently 93,487 total cases in Hillsborough County, including 1,197 deaths. In Florida, there are 1,589,097 total cases, with 24,820 deaths. That is just incredible. 5,704 residents of Hillsborough County were tested just yesterday, and we had a positivity rate of 10.36, which is high, but it actually has come down. We've been up around 14% positivity in the past. Many of you know that the national standard for reopening communities is 5% positivity. So we are a long way from that. We are continuing our testing efforts with our vaccination. We have vaccinated as many people as we possibly can here in Hillsborough County. The issue is not the administration of the vaccine, it's being able to get vaccine. We have a number of sites set up. We call them pods, points of distribution, and we have the ability, as we have displayed, to administer the vaccine in parks. We did it at Barksdale last Saturday very successfully for those over 65 years of age. In churches, the county has done a very good job with their distribution sites. I know that there are a lot of issues with signing up for the vaccine, but they are distributing the number of vaccines that they have, which is 9,000 for the past few weeks. But there's not an anticipated number of vaccines that we will be receiving in the future. And it's not an issue for the state. The state doesn't know what they're getting either. So that's one of the things that I look for dramatic improvement on, is the availability of vaccine, and then the bringing that down to the local level so that we can administer it and get as many people vaccinated as we possibly can. Dr. Holt with the Department of Health had a plan to vaccinate teachers this week, but don't have the vaccine to do that. So the plans are there to, to go to congregate living, to be able to distribute this to as many individuals as we possibly can out in our community, but we've got to have the vaccine in order to do that. So we see, we are very hopeful and very confident that there will be improvements in the availability soon. And with the millions of individuals that have been safely vaccinated across the country, according to uh, our good friend Dr. Wilson last week, there have only been 24 or 25 reactions, negative reactions to that vaccine, and most of those individuals have had a previous negative reaction to a vaccine. So all indications the vaccine is safe. We had a 102-year-old female get the vaccine couple Saturday, not last Saturday, a week ago, last Saturday. So we've given it out to thousands of individuals in our community with no adverse reactions. So it is safe, and we're trying to get it out to as many locations throughout the community as we possibly can, and take comfort in the fact that we're all working together on this, from the local city of Tampa, Hillsborough County, state of Florida. We're all working closely to make sure our community is safe. All right, now I want to introduce our guests. We have Ms. Courtney Jackson. She's a Navy veteran and seasoned IT professional with over 20 years of certified hands-on experience. She holds a Master of Science in Information Security and Assurance, in addition to nearly a dozen IT career certifications. Over the span of her career, she worked her way up from a help desk support to becoming a chief security officer, the only female executive for a multi-million-dollar company, before taking a leap of faith. And what a time to take that leap, right, Courtney? And I know Matthew will say the same thing, but to take a leap of faith to pursue entrepreneurship full time. She runs her own cybersecurity company, Paragon Cyber Solutions LLC, based right here in Tampa, where she helps startups, commercial companies, and government agencies protect their information from exposure, which is very important in this time. She has years of experience serving on executive boards and mentoring women in the IT cybersecurity field. Welcome, Courtney. And then Matthew. Matthew is our, let me get back to your, okay. Matthew is the owner of Bay Canyon Beer Company, and that is located in the heart of Old West Tampa, right around the corner from my family's cabinet shop. And they are, or have been in the past, frequent customers of Matthew's. He's been in business since last summer, and he is uniquely qualified to talk about the challenges of opening a small business in the time of COVID. Matthew's originally from Minneapolis, but he's called our area Tampa home since 2016. So welcome to both of you. Matthew, let me start off with you. Now, you did take, a leap of faith in a number of ways. Both of you, I commend, to go out and start your own business really is a frightening proposition in so many different ways, because you're it. You have no really backboard or backstop. So, Matthew, you refurbished an old building and opened up your brewery right in the heart of West Tampa along Main Street. So tell us a little bit about what led you to that location on Main Street.
Yeah, obviously, not being from here, originally there was just a canvas for every possible location. We wanted to look in every neighborhood. We wanted to kind of go through and feel the neighborhoods. We went all over the city. We were going to stay in Tampa proper because my wife's work is at Bloomin' Brands there over by International Plaza Mall. So from a commuting standpoint, we knew we were going to do that, but we went everywhere, and we had probably 3 different LOIs on buildings in West Tampa. We just kept feeling like there was a soul there that was different than the rest of the city, where I previously worked in Minneapolis. Northeast Minneapolis was an old area of Minneapolis that was very heavy manufacturing. And, that neighborhood really hit the skids along with the rest of manufacturing in the country. And these large, beautiful buildings that just went vacant, communities, just really atrophied. And then over years, there was just nothing there, and there was cheap loft space. So artists went back, and then coffee shops showed up. And then it's just sort of the same thing that we kind of began to see happening in West Tampa when we went through there. Piquant was on the corner of Main and Howard, a little French bakery and coffee shop. And you could see the architectural value. And it just felt like a place to me that where there was inventory available and where a brewery and, neighborhood pub should be.
And it actually was very, very successful in the beginning. And really, you took, a personal interest in really bringing that community together there. And I went to a couple of events at your brewery, and so it tell us about that. Like what you were attempting to do in bringing a sense of neighborhood back to Main Street.
Well, yeah, it's Main Street. I grew up on a Main Street in a small town in Minnesota, and I think that there's a lot of value to that. And there's a ton of history here in West Tampa on Main Street, and it had, it just had sort of gone away over the years. Obviously, North Boulevard homes being knocked down and those residents displaced, and it was designated CRA, obviously, as you know, and there just wasn't that kind of life there that it should be. And it's interesting because you're 15 blocks from the heart of a major metropolitan downtown, so you don't find that very often anymore around the country. Those areas have been taken because people can walk and bike to work, and we just felt like this was going to be a place that people wanted to live and that people were moving back to. And that is the case, of course, but there's obviously issues, and it starts with crime, and that was one of the main things that we just wanted to run a brewery and invite people in. And it became pretty clear that we were going to have to take a little stronger position in terms of rallying people in the community that didn't want to see those things and that did want to see redevelopment and more of those small businesses, because there still are some there, and that have been there longer than we have, and that have survived through the losing of all of those customers down on North Boulevard homes. So it's been important to it's an extremely diverse neighborhood and has been for over 100 years, with folks who still live in their grandparents' house. I mean, this is very, very unique, I think, by American standards and our societal norms, and really neat and almost romantic. And so we've tried to become part of that community and, get people to buy into finding new things to do and welcoming new people. And a lot of them have been really, really good about it and believe in the same things we have.
Without a doubt. And, we've had a number of meetings on the revitalization and lifting West Tampa up. To your point, the history and the character there. You've got the old cigar factories. You have a large Hispanic population, African American, Black. It's just a really diverse. It's an example of what makes Tampa what it is. It's our diversity, that the different cultures, the different foods, the different just every customs, all of the things that really make Tampa such a great city. And it is coming alive. You look at all of the apartments that were in the sort of industrial area that is south of Main Street, and now with the housing that goes all the way from affordable, subsidized, all the way to market price, and you'll never know which is which. The building of a real community. And so it is so exciting. And you mentioned a CRA. A lot of people don't know what that means, but it stands for Community Revitalization Area. And that what that encompasses is that the taxes that are generated in that area go back into that particular area. And so it is a very, very exciting time for West Tampa. And what we want to ensure, as we're trying to do for the entire city, is that as neighborhoods are lifted up and they prosper, that everyone has a hand in that prosperity, and that we ensure that we don't lose that diversity that identified that neighborhood in the first place. And so I thank you for being a part of that. Now, Courtney, you're clearly your business is a little bit different, but give us a rundown on the cybersecurity. So Courtney and I have had several conversations, and I always say that it's the cybersecurity always seems to be the end of the budget until somebody gets attacked, and then all of a sudden it rises to the very, very top. So Courtney's there to make sure that you pay attention and that your business isn't affected by somebody coming in the back door. So tell us how you came to start your business and exactly what it is that you guys did do before COVID came in.
Yes, thank you. So I've been in IT for 20 years, going back to the Navy, and I did cybersecurity for the government for over a decade in the DC area. So I've been in this field a really long time, but it was just December 2019 when I decided to take that leap of faith to get into full-time entrepreneurship. So our business, as you said, we help protect companies, and we prefer to take the proactive approach because it's so true. As you mentioned, people are so reactive with cybersecurity. When they get an attack or something happens, then they call. So we try to work with our clients ahead of time to prevent that from occurring at all. We have a lot of services, penetration tests, general security assessments. So we help them highlight the areas that they need to focus on. We can pretty much do anything in the cyber umbrella.
That's great. And we have such a huge DoD. Well, clearly the MacDill Air Force Base is a very large military presence, but we have a number of contractors associated with that provide the services that MacDill Air Force Base needs. And so that's something that without a doubt will help us recover as a community much quicker than other municipalities throughout the United States, because we are very diversified. We have a large military presence. We have a large medical, pharmaceutical. We have large manufacturing, clearly tourism. We have one of the largest ports in the nation. We have the best airport in the nation. So we really are very diverse. So a lot of cities, let's take Orlando for an example, who has a heavy reliance on tourism. They're going to struggle for a lot longer than we are during this pandemic. And so with the cybersecurity, it's great for our local businesses, but then also to get involved in that DoD military component of it. So, all right, and I also have to mention, because I love these stories, about how you and your husband visited Tampa and decided that that's where you're going to live, and you moved here. So I love those stories when people just come for a visit. And this may be true for you, Matthew. I don't know. You may just be, get the hell out of that snow, but come down here for a visit and just find that it's such a friendly town and so
Love at first sight.
There you go. I like it.
We literally put in an offer on a home before we went back home. I mean, we were serious. We loved it, and
right.
It's been the best decision ever. We love it here.
Well, good. So tell us a little bit about how you pivoted and what you how you changed your business model or your strategic approach.
Okay, so we still offer cyber services, but we had just closed on our lease in December of 2019, so a few months before the pandemic hit. And we're an authorized Pearson VUE test center, so we are able to proctor exams for people in our office. And prior to COVID, we primarily proctored technical and cybersecurity related exams. Then after everyone shut down, we received so many calls from people, healthcare professionals, insurance, law enforcement. They were telling us that there weren't any open VUE test centers for ours. And most of them really needed to pass exams to either keep a job or get a job. So we worked with Pearson VUE to expand our offering beyond technical and reopened our office. And my husband and I worked right alongside our staff 6-7 days a week. We literally helped hundreds of people achieve job-related certifications. So it was just really nice to kind of expand beyond the IT cyber. We were able to help the community, but then also, we didn't have to do any layoffs. during the time. So that was a blessing.
Yes.
And yeah, so we just had to, look at the big picture and just kind of think outside of the box a little bit.
And how many people do you employ?
I have 5 employees right now.
Okay. And then also, so you start, I mean, you pick like probably the worst time to open a business, right up there with Matthew, right before the pandemic. But then to look at, clearly your regular business cybersecurity, it isn't growing as you anticipated right now because everybody's focused on other issues. But to be able to look at pivoting quickly and finding where that niche is that you could not only avoid laying anyone off so nobody loses a job, you're able to keep your business open, and then also those hundreds of people that you were able to assist in getting that certification so they could either become employed or remain employed. So
Exactly.
that's very exciting. Now, Matthew, you're even worse. You didn't get to choose to close your business down. Your business got closed. So let's talk about, kind of take us through that whole journey just so people understand it. I and I know you know this. I was against opening bars back up. I thought that we should use the CARES funding to supplement so that people like yourself wouldn't lose your business, but we wouldn't have those congregations of individuals in close quarters. But tell us exactly what it was from the beginning of the business. You're building it. Were you getting to a point where you were actually making a profit before the pandemic came through, or were you just
Yeah,
making a profit off of my family?
yeah, we no, yeah, we could certainly use them to come back.
Yeah.
Uh, no, we weren't we weren't yet profitable, but that also goes back a little bit to the first part of our conversation.
Hmm.
I think that we underestimated how long it would take, I suppose, to get traffic. Most areas where breweries go into just kind of desolate places a lot of times because you need a large um, spot for that
Hmm.
kind of operation. And it's very capital heavy up front. So they're looking for something that they don't have to spend as much money on. And a lot of times those are in areas that aren't very populated or don't have great, consumer retail frontage. But people go. That's kind of one of the things about our culture is that people will just go to breweries.
Hmm.
Main Street in West Tampa was different. Um, Folks not from Tampa were happy to come, but it was this interesting, just sort of perceptions from people who have been here for a long time that there's also nothing else from a I guess hospitality standpoint
Yeah.
there, and so friends beget friends, and we really do need that to help with traffic, and so we weren't necessarily getting the traffic that we needed, but we were improving, and we were finding continued awareness and consistency and growth there too. Obviously, COVID changed it in several layers for us. One, we had to close, and being a small neighborhood operation, we weren't a wholesale brewery. We weren't a production ready or production plan brewery. So when the doors shut and there's no beers on the shelves at liquor stores, which is where everyone was going, you're in trouble. And we kind of realized that quick. We pivoted extremely fast with some of the EIDL loan money that we got. We bought a canning line right away that we knew we would be able to package. And then I went out and started selling, which is what I did at my previous job. So we got relationships built with ABC and with Lucan's, a couple of the local chains, got our beer in there. Beer sold well. Everywhere we've put it, it's sold. And I think that that's a testament to, our head brewer and co-founder, Joe Simmons, who makes fantastic product, because that, from a salesperson and beer standpoint, that's the reason not to just jump into wholesale is you have no idea if people want your product.
Yeah.
And we were sort of forced with COVID into like figuring that out. And um, fortunately, the product was viable. That's a great thing. But that also created other issues, and backed by the fact that our main business plan and model was closed and then open at 25%, which doesn't do much. And people's perception of what they're doing. We've been open since May 4th, and we've had zero issues. We continue to just do the best we can. Um, we, you and I probably differ on how to read the science as it pertains to this, but we can have that conversation over a beer. um, it, we just, there was, and even if the whole city came back out, we were going to have to figure out another way to do our business. So we look at it as two businesses. The tap room and the restaurant will be what it will be when the revitalization of West Tampa is on its way, and when COVID subsides, and we can build that like we planned. But we have spent a lot of time and effort now on the distribution side and wholesale side. And we signed an agreement with a statewide distributor. We signed an agreement with a contract brewing facility over in Largo that will make a lot more of our beer than we can possibly do. That allows for them to get product out to the rest of Florida. It allows for us to hit margins, even though smaller, that can help pay bills and can get us profitable. And we've gone a step further, even with we got sought out by a national company that's doing some very innovative stuff in our industry and licensed our beer. So they're going to be making our beer in North Carolina and selling it almost nationally.
Wow.
And we don't have to spend a dime on that. And so we're kind of scaling our business differently. I think that we've received some confirmation, at least on the quality of product that is being made, the value of the branding, it's moving. So the pivoting part, it's kind of like turning a cruise ship 90 degrees. It's hard. It isn't, there's a bottleneck at every level, whether it's packaging, whether it's the sales part. And we've just sort of continued to step through that. And, obviously sales, having been open, aren't great, but they are something. The CARES Act was huge. This next stimulus will be huge, and specifically on the SBA relief. And this is the unsung hero probably for a lot of businesses in our shoes with the act. Everybody talks about the PPP, and that's big. And everyone talks about the fact that it's a grant, and the EIDL loan, which is extremely positive from an interest rate standpoint. But the government is paying. If you have an SBA loan, the government is paying the principal and interest on that loan. And they did that for 6 months. We were lucky enough to be able to go into deferment on our mortgage after that. And then this new stimulus will pick that back up for another 3 to 8, depending on who you are. And so it is a puzzle for us. It is, we just had to figure out month
and all the way around, not just from pivoting on your business model, like you kind of described, sort of not fumbling, but dancing in the dark. You're going down these routes that you didn't plan and you're not familiar with. And then also from these programs that are these assistance programs sometimes are so difficult. That's what we hear from so many businesses. That so you, both of you, I mean, you are the CEO, you're probably the CFO, the COO, you're probably the cleaning crew, and now you have to fill out these forms and navigate that process while you're changing your business model. And it's hard enough with a small business. I mean, we know what the stats are in that. Very few small businesses are successful. And then you get thrown a curve like the pandemic, which really for a lot just makes it impossible. So it's small businesses are the backbone of our economy here locally. And so that's why we support as much as we possibly can. But I know it has been a very, very difficult journey for both of you. But, congratulations. Matthew, have you seen any additional customers come in from your sales?
Yeah, that's obviously, we don't have a budget for marketing, as most small businesses don't. but distribution is marketing, and that's a big key. So when I think about the smaller margins, some of that gets chalked up to the marketing that finding our beer on the shelves at stores or finding our beer at a bar or restaurant. That really helps, especially here locally. And then with social media, what's neat is, we did a beer we released at the beginning of or at the end of December. We did a collaboration with a group called Pink Boots. That is women in beer. They have their own organization nationally and then state chapters. And so we did a collaboration with them, and our assistant brewer Allie is one of the board members there. And so that beer got canned, and then we don't make that much, but we were able to get a little bit to our distributor. And then all of a sudden we see on Instagram that folks are getting that at a bottle shop in Wynwood, and folks are finding it in Jacksonville. And so, and then they're tagging us on it. And so there's a bunch of value there, and I don't know how necessarily to put a dollar amount on it,
right.
but it's extremely important. And, that is our marketing.
Yeah. So I guess the word is get it out whatever way you can to get that message out. Now, I know there's a lot of development in West Tampa, especially when you're going south of Maine. Now there's a couple new restaurants on Rome right down there. Have you done anything to try to partner with local restaurants?
Yeah, we have our beer, we have one flagship beer. We do a bunch of different ones, but we have one flagship beer called Xander. It's a hazy IPA, and that is on tap at Roman Fig, which is one of the new restaurants there. And Christine and Eric are awesome. We spent a bunch of time down there chatting with those guys, and then right across the street there will be a new spot opening up too. And we've had those conversations as well. It's been really interesting getting all those bodies that are right there in those apartments. We just haven't been able to get them up to the brewery, and that's unfortunate because it's really close.
Yeah.
But again, awareness. Right. We'll just keep doing the best that we can.
You get one of those influencers, however you find them.
Well, the UT kids found us.
Oh, there you go. I was going to say that being a UT alumni, but most of them aren't 21. So
that's the problem. I haven't wanted to market there because of how many underage kids there are, but a lot of folks come into town, their parents come,
there you go.
We definitely do want them to find.
Well, you definitely will grow in that particular area, and it's so exciting to see. That's one of the we have one sort of overarching design program in process, and it is for Main Street to imagine the future, to incorporate the history of Main Street, and not just leave it up to the development to see what happens, but to really lay out a thoughtful plan for Main Street. So it's very, very exciting.
Well, I am on the CRA. I'm a board member now for the West Tampa Chamber of Commerce, and I will be the sitting participant in the CRA review board. So sort of full circle from where we started.
Yeah, that's great. And that's one thing too that I don't know about other cities, but I know in Tampa that our chambers are incredibly tight.
Oh, yes.
I mean, I go to business openings, and South Tampa, West Tampa, Ybor, all the chambers. It's I told Kelly from South Tampa one day, I said, I think you guys are like a certified gang because everybody's working together, which again is great. And let's talk about that, Courtney. Matthew brought up the women brewers. So let's talk about mentoring and some of the relationships. I know that I introduced you after I came out to your business, introduced you to one of the DoD contractors. Matter of fact, Lauren Weiner and her partner got the largest DoD contract for a woman-owned company. And so, that seemed like that was a great relationship for you to be introduced to, a number of other, not just business owners to get your foot in that door, but also women that, may have had unique struggles in, especially getting into a field that I would suppose is like law enforcement, very male dominated.
It is. It definitely is.
I know you may not be heard in the room. You got to be a little bit louder.
Yep. Yeah, that was a great connection. Thank you so much. And then in government contracting too, I feel like it's a lot harder for boutique firms such as myself because a lot of that goes to the bigger companies and
Mhm.
a lot about kind of those relationships. So Lauren has put me in touch with some people, and I actually went and met with her for a few hours and sat down and talked over some things. So we've definitely taken action on that connection. So thank you for that again.
Good, good. And that's it is all about the relationships and connecting that with the breweries. I know you have a very tight group that's always talking and meeting, and we are known around the country for our breweries. And then same thing with you, Courtney, to be able to get in. It is hard to get into, especially into those contracts with DoD, and it's not necessarily a lot of people want to look at it in a negative way, but I think it's more of the uh, what is it that mass goes to the area of less resistance, least resistance. It's one of the thermodynamic rules. But I
Mhm.
think that's the same thing with contracting sometimes is that you go with the sure thing, and
Right.
to your point, taking a chance. So you have to have somebody that gives you that opportunity to open the door and prove yourself, and that's critically important. And that happened for me in the way of my athletic scholarship at the University of Tampa. That was a chance of a lifetime for me, and really opened the door for everything that I've been able to accomplish in my life. And so that's something I always focus on, is making sure that I'm helping out other individuals, because most people, especially our youth, they have the intellect, they have the motivation, they've got the skills, they've got all it takes. They just need that chance. They need somebody to give them that chance to prove themselves. So I'm glad to see that both of you are successful. It looks like you're both going to continue to be successful. But thanks for being a great example of um, that innovation. When life throws up the roadblock, you find a way to go around it, under it, over it, whatever it is. You find a way to make it work, and that really is defines strong businesses that will last, without a doubt. So I thank you both very much for being here today. I look forward to you guys being both successful businesses that will be able to help out some of the other startup businesses, whether it's down in the Main Street area, Matthew, or it's other women that want to get their foot in the door of cybersecurity or Department of Defense contracts. So thank you both very, very much. Much appreciated. I have a question from the media, but it's more about COVID. So it's from Justin Matthews with Fox 13. It says, how is the city working with the county health department, the Division of Emergency Management, on getting more doses? We are working on that. As I say on my Facebook program, on a regular basis, I expect for Jared Moskowitz to call block me anytime. He is the emergency manager from the state, and I call him on a regular basis. I did so when we were looking for PPE. I did so when we were looking for testing, and I'm doing so now for the vaccine. Dr. Holt, Bonnie Weiss from the county administrator, Dennis Jones, the emergency manager for Hillsborough County. We are all working together in the best interests of our community, and trying to get as many vaccines as we possibly can. As I said, I anticipate that we're going to be getting more of those. Justin says that have I heard anything about the state holding on to doses, not distributing as many as they could because it plans to take over overseeing vaccination sites? No, there is information, and I don't know if it's correct or not, that because there's so little information on the vaccine production and availability, that a lot of jurisdictions are holding back that second dose to make sure that they have that to be able to give to individuals who got the first vaccination. But I don't know. I don't know if that's the case. with the state. I don't know that. And if it is the case, you really can't fault. But I think President Biden's view is to get all of that vaccine out as much as we can to give those first shots to as many individuals as we possibly can, and then focus on the manufacturing of the vaccine. The Johnson and Johnson is supposed to be out, I believe, at the end of January, so that will give us another vaccine. So we'll have three, and there's one other one that's supposed to come out in short order after that. So hopefully we will be able to, to get this out as quickly as possible. Super Bowl's coming, in case anybody didn't know that. As I predicted, and as will be shown this day, Tampa Bay Bucks will be in that Super Bowl. All we got to do is beat Green Bay, and that's not going to be an issue, regardless of how cold it is up there. We are going to bring that championship back, and we are going to win the Super Bowl as well. So they are looking at allowing a number of individuals into the stadium that have had both vaccinations, and that vast majority of those will be our frontline medical workers, our heroes. And so that will be wonderful to get to say thank you to our frontline medical workers and get them in to see the Super Bowl. The number in the stadium is controlled by the NFL, and it won't be a full stadium, but it certainly won't be an empty stadium either. NFL Experience, that is open for registration. So you go on the NFL site and you'll be able to register for that. It is free, but you do have to register, and you have to get a time-specific ticket for it, because clearly with the COVID concerns, they're only allowing so many people in at certain times, and then they're going to disinfect, and then the next group will come in. So go on and sign up for that. There will be some safe festivities that are associated with the NFL. Or with the Super Bowl, the NFL is using 3 of our city parks. So it will be Julian B. Lane Park, it will be Curtis Hickson Park, and it'll be Coton-Shobi Park that's down behind the home of the Stanley Cup, down by the Lightning Arena. And so we are all along the river. We have the river walk for everyone to be able to traverse that distance between the 3 parks. So we have a lot of exciting events that are all outside. We have wonderful weather, so come on down and enjoy it safely. Make sure that you wear your mask. Please, please, please wear your masks. We have started citing the bars and restaurants that are not adhering to the requirements that individuals are wearing masks if they aren't seated. They can't be served unless they're seated at a table. And so we've got a number of locations that have been cited, and we'll have a hearing that may result in the suspension of their wet zoning. And so the vast majority of businesses are adhering to the rules. And so we're just going to make sure that we don't have any bad actors out there, and that everybody is able to open their business safely, and we're keeping our community safe. So thank you again for joining me. Thank you, Courtney. Thank you, Matthew. It's very exciting to see your level of innovation, and the fact that your businesses are surviving despite the obstacles that have been put in your way. Remember, please be safe, stay healthy. Remember, we have a lot of choices. Please choose to be kind. Thank you, and I'll see you next Wednesday.